Hey, there we are. We're live. Hello, hello, welcome. This is Linda Downey, and you may be listening to this on social media. You may be listening to this at a podcast, the Unconditioned Life podcast. This is a conversation we're going to have this evening around willpower. And it's kind of timely because we're into the spring now, and a lot of people set goals and resolutions and all that stuff at the beginning of the year. And this is the time where they might be like, ugh, I didn't stick with it. Ugh, you know, I did well for the first month and now here it is warm weather and I didn't really make any progress or whatever it is. I'm just using diet or whatever exercise goals as a common one. But really, willpower can be around any time that you want to make a change in your life and you need to cause some different kinds of actions. We use willpower often to make that happen. So if you're hopping on and you want to say hello, please do. Please say where you're from. If you watch the replay later, I always try to go back and catch all the comments and make sure I respond. So I will be looking forward to doing that. Okay, so willpower. Here's why willpower is such a struggle. When we rely on willpower as the thing to make us attain our goals, we rely on willpower as the thing to keep us going. At some point, we fall short. And here's why. Because willpower is all in your conscious mind, a conscious decision. So every day you have opportunities to make a choice. You have an opportunity, to choose this to eat or to choose that. You have an opportunity to, go out and take some steps. Let's say you're looking for a new job and you want to do some research or you want to find some alternative things or you have like steps and a process to go to. And every day you go to try to do some of that, but then you find you don't have time. You don't stick with it, days go by, you never really got to it. And it's all about like, oh, why can't I do that? Why can't I make that happen? Why do I keep just going back into my regular habits? Because those choices, when they're coming from willpower, those are conscious choices. And the conscious mind, your conscious thinking, what will I eat right now? It's 6:30 at night. What am I going to have for dinner? Oh, what am I going to do for this hour in terms of, these steps that I need for a job that I want or for whatever it is, what I need to go do. And those conscious choices are governed by your conscious mind. But what really happens, which is why willpower never holds up, it just never will. Your conscious choices will never, ever hold out if they are not a match for your subconscious thoughts and beliefs. So whenever there's not a match and they're not in alignment, your subconscious is going to win. It's just going to win out every time. So I want to just share with you a little graphic. I'm sure you've seen things like this before, but this is an iceberg. All right. So this is what's above the ice, what we can see. And this is all of the ice below the water that we have no idea how much is there. So when we are relying on our conscious thoughts and choices throughout the day, again, what am I going to eat at the next meal? What am I going to, spend time on creating this goal that I want to have? Those choices are up here where you can see them. But if they're not a match for what's below the surface, what's behind, then this stuff underneath the surface is going to be stronger. So what do I mean by that? What's underneath the surface? Well, it might be like, let's just say exercise was a goal that you had, just because that often requires willpower, right? When you're putting new habits in place. So let's just say it's exercise. And you're like, tomorrow or every day I'm going to exercise for an hour before I go to work or when I get home from work, whatever it is. And you do that for 2 days. And then the third day, it's like, I don't really have time, whatever. It'll be okay just this one day. And then the next day, it's like, I already blew it this week and I might as well start again on next Monday, something like that. Okay. So what happens is underneath here, those thoughts and beliefs that maybe are not in alignment. So the first place to look is, do I really believe that I can get that outcome? Because if your experience of yourself is, I don't like, your belief is, I don't like exercise, or your belief is, my body just doesn't ever respond to what I do, something like that, then that's going to be an unconscious or a subconscious belief down here. So when it's time to make a choice the next day to go do something, those subconscious thoughts are going to say, and it's really just to keep you safe in this instance anyway. There's other reasons, but in this instance, it's just to keep you in familiar zone, to keep you comfortable. So it might be like, it's okay, I don't have to do it, one day is not going to be a big deal, or it's all right if I just start again next week. And it seems like really reasonable thinking. It seems like that makes sense. And, all of the things in that moment, but it's actually your subconscious way of getting you to match what you already believe about yourself, which is, I don't ever do well on diet and exercise programs. Or let's just say it's a new job and you've got to do a whole process. You've got to, maybe you want to totally change careers. So you've got to do some research and find out what's available. You've got to make some contacts. You've got this whole process to do. And you start out and you make like a plan and you have a list and you start out. And then again, the same thing happens. And your conscious thinking is, I should just do a little bit every day, or as long as I make this amount of progress. And then one day comes up and you feel like you're up against a wall, or you feel like you're not making headway. And so your subconscious beliefs, if you have any subconscious beliefs that are in the realm of, that job is going to be too big for you, that's going to be out of your comfort zone, that job, you've never done anything like that before, maybe you're not going to succeed, maybe it's bigger than what your talents and skills are, maybe you really shouldn't go for it. If that's in the background, it will overcome your willpower 100% of the time. 100% of the time. So it's not that you have a willpower problem. It's not a willpower problem. Because when you're in alignment, when what you're consciously thinking and choosing is a match for what you subconsciously believe and think about yourself, then it's going to be easy, or easier, definitely easier, but even somewhat easy, because you'll be in alignment and you'll just go through the process and you'll stick with it. And you probably have the experience of doing that around different things in your life at different times. So you certainly have been successful. And then there's the times when you weren't. So you want to look at the times when you haven't been successful, the times when willpower felt like it didn't hold up. What happened? What happened? What beliefs are you holding? What are you telling yourself? What's below the surface that you're not paying attention to? And I wanted to talk about this tonight, not only around goals and willpower necessarily, but across the board, your subconscious beliefs and thoughts always are driving your boat. They're always, at the wheel of your life. And we think it's the conscious things that are right out in front that we're paying attention to every day. But it's the subconscious behind the scenes, under the water, like in this picture, things that are really, really making your decisions and choices. So when I work with clients and we're really working on getting out of stress and overwhelm, let's just say, I work primarily with women, so women who are feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, and consciously they're thinking, I need to time manage differently. Consciously they're thinking, if I can just stick with a schedule, let me write up a schedule and stick with it. Maybe I need to delegate more. And all of that is conscious thoughts and choices, has a lot to do with willpower, like sticking with a schedule, etc. And yet they still find themselves back into stress and overwhelm, because it's not really the schedule or the delegating, the time management. It's not really any of that. The stress and the overwhelm is coming from this part under here below the surface that they're not aware of. And in this case, these kinds of cases, it's more like, what are my beliefs about myself if I don't get this all done in a particular time? What do I believe about myself? So let's just say I'm going to pick like a holiday dinner, right? The holidays people find very stressful, and especially if you're the one having everybody to your house and people are running around going crazy, and you get stressed out over and overwhelmed with what you have to do, right? So it looks like I have so much to do. I have, this dinner to cook, and I have to still go to the store, and I still have this to do, and I want to have the house clean. It looks like all of that. But what's really below the surface in driving the stress and the overwhelm are the beliefs and the thoughts that you have about that. What's it going to mean if I don't have everything done on time? What are my family's expectations about me? What kind of a wife or mom am I? What kind of a, party giver am I? Do I have a house that I'm happy to show off and have people come over to? That's all what's in the background that's really driving the stress and the overwhelm. Because if you can get present to those thoughts and what you really are believing about yourself. Like I had a client, using this example, I had a client, and we were talking about the holidays, and what she really saw was that she had decided that her worth as a mom had a lot to do with how amazing the holidays were, like how blown away she could do it for her kids, right? To have the whole thing soup to nuts done. And if it wasn't like that, she was going to fall short in their eyes. She wasn't going to be the kind of mom, the rule that she had for the kind of mom that she wanted to be. So all of her stress and overwhelm really came from that. Once she shifted that, so you can still have all of the things on your to-do list, but the pressure and the belief around if you fail, that's got you kind of like by the throat. If that gets handled, so it's not there anymore. Or actually, if you look at the next step is, do I really need to do all of that? And if you actually can match your beliefs, match what you're doing to your beliefs, then all of your stress goes away. So the subconscious way that we decide about ourselves and the way that we hold ourselves to account, all of that overrides our conscious choices, even our willpower when we're trying to attain a new goal, create something different in our life, all of that, all of the times when you would have willpower at your disposal. Okay, so if you've noticed that in your life, just take a look. What are my subconscious beliefs around this particular thing? And our thoughts, what goes along with the subconscious is really our monkey mind. It's going to be very sneaky in talking you out of what you're doing if your subconscious thinks, no, that's going to be bad for you if you fail. You want to stay safe over here. So it'll say pretty reasonable things like, oh, it's not a big deal. Just take this day off. Oh, it won't matter if I just do that. It'll talk you into that because it sounds very reasonable, but it's your thoughts, your ego, and your mind's way of keeping you safe and familiar. So because your beliefs are underneath that's really where you should be. Okay? So just a conversation about willpower and subconscious. I'm going to take away this iceberg now. I think you get the point, right? So just look and see, especially if at this point, as you go into the spring and you're feeling like I had all of these goals and plans from the beginning of the year, and here it is in the 4th month and it hasn't happened. Every year, that's what happens to me, maybe. So if that's the case, you want to look here. And if you need some conversation about that, I'd be happy to respond to any comments. Go ahead and put them in about anything in your experience where you've noticed that, or where you really feel stuck, and you'd like some help. Okay? All right. Well, enjoy the rest of this beautiful weather. It's getting nicer and nicer each day, although a little chilly today, but the sun is out. So enjoy that, and I will see you again later this week. Take care.